The Himalayan 450 has been in the ZigWheels garage for over a year now, and that time it's clocked almost 20,000 kilometers of city, highway, ghats, off-road, the works. It's been used and abused by pretty much everybody in the office. Now, since the bike has been around for quite some time, this is not a review of the bike itself. This is a review of what it's been like to live with the Himalayan for over a year. Now, as we had mentioned in our road test review, below around 200,000 RPM, this motor is lacking a bit of torque, which means you have to slip the clutch a lot more when you are in slow-moving traffic compared to any other similar powered motorcycle. But it only takes a little time to get used to. And by little, I mean just a couple of weeks. At least that was the case for me. And once I got used to it, I found myself taking the Himalayan to work nearly every day, to the point where I began ignoring my Duke 390 almost completely. And on top of that, my commute time was cut down by 10 minutes on the Himalayan compared to my Duke, and that's not because this is a faster bike. It's just that on the road, you have to slow down for a lot fewer things on this Himalayan. This chassis and suspension is nothing short of magic, no matter where you ride it, whether it's on the highway, in the city, or even off-road. Now, the one thing I'm still not a big fan of on this Himalayan is its weight. At nearly 200 kilos, it's a pretty heavy motorcycle. But more than that, because of this massive fuel tank, it feels quite top heavy and you have to spend some time getting used to it. But once you do, and once you're on the move, that weight just melts away, whether you're in slow moving traffic or even riding off the road. But the one thing I'm still not used to is trying to move this bike in the parking or getting it on the main stand. Even now, after a year, the struggle is still real. Now let's talk off-roading. In our time with the Himalayan, we have realized really that it's not a trail bike or a dual sport bike. It's more of an ADV, so it's heavy and does take some time getting used to off the road. And my own personal off-road skills are somewhere here, maybe even here. But once I got used to the bike, on flat wide trails, no matter how loose they were, the Himalayan was a lot of fun and really fast as well. In fact, many of my less experienced colleagues also have taken the Himalayan on plenty of trail rides and they have had an absolute blast. But if you want to attempt tight technical trails with jumps and whatnot, the Himalayan does require an expert hand. So I'm still of the opinion that if you want to learn the art of off-roading, the Himalayan 450 should not be your first choice. You'll be better off with something like the X-Pulse or maybe even the Scram before making the jump onto the Himalayan and taking it on some tight technical trails. Now all this off-roading has shown us one thing, that just how well built this Himalayan actually is. It's been used and abused on flat trails, on technical trails by newbies and experts, and it's also been dropped a couple of times. And all that has to show for it is maybe a bent lever and some battle scars which it wears with pride. Even the paint, if you can call it that, hasn't gone wrong anywhere, and the bike's been parked outdoors in the sun, in the rain, pretty much all the time. It's built like an absolute tank. Nothing is broken, nothing has gone loose. Well, almost nothing. The front number plate, well, that's gone loose and makes a very annoying sound, but that can be fixed very easily with some tape or some rubber washers. And finally, after 1 year of use, the cone set has gone loose and high time we get that replaced. Now the cone set going loose was a concern on some earlier Himalayan 450s, and we are not sure whether RE has actually fixed that in the current bikes. So if you're someone who's bought a Himalayan 450 recently, let us know in the comments if you have faced the same issue as well. Now while the Himalayan has been solid over the last 1 year, there are some things that still annoy us. Firstly, that headlight, which is okay in the city at night, but if you're on unlit highways, it's just not that great. If you're someone who likes touring at night on the Himalayan, we recommend getting auxiliary lights because they will make your life that much better. And then you have the switch gear, which although solid and hasn't gone wrong at all, is quite a pain to use, especially the high beam pass switch, which is weird. It requires you to change your grip on the handlebar to use it, and even after a year I'm still not used to it. And if you want to use the high beam flasher and the horn at the same time, well, good luck with that, because that would require you to have 2 thumbs on your left hand. And then the joystick for the menus is just vague AF. I can't figure out if I'm pushing it left, right or in, which makes using the menus quite a task. And even the maps, while they are good to have in a pinch, sometimes I feel they are more trouble than they are worth, because you have to have the phone unlocked all the time, and that just drains the battery like crazy. So whenever anyone from our office has gone touring on the Himalayan, they have just not bothered with the maps at all. As you can see, our Himalayan is not running the tubeless spoke wheels, but we have not had a single puncture so far. I guess we have been really lucky. But if you're buying a Himalayan today, I would recommend spend the extra 10 or 12 grand to get the tubeless spoke wheels, as they make a huge difference. I have some friends who own the Himalayan without the tubeless spoke wheels, and they had punctures, and those have been nothing short of a royal pain in the backside to deal with. The one thing that I've really come to appreciate about the Himalayan over the last 1 year is just how good a touring bike it actually is. Speeds of 100-110 on the highway are easy all day long. And that chassis and suspension handles bad roads like they simply don't exist. Of course, there are some vibes, but that's not really a deal breaker because the vibes actually get less as you go faster. That said, after our last service around 4-5 months back, the vibes on this Himalayan have gotten a little more. And not in terms of the amount, but they can be felt more through more of the rev range. But still, even today, at least once or twice a month, when my colleagues want to go for a weekend ride, they always ask for the keys of the Himalayan. And it's not just fun in a straight line either, it's quite good in the corners too. In fact, recently when I went down to India Bike Week in Goa, my colleague Govind, who was on the Himalayan, could almost keep up with the sportier bikes like the Apache RR310s on the narrow winding roads of Anushkula Ghat. The Himalayan is truly a do-it-all motorcycle. So is the Himalayan a keeper? In one word, hell yes. Okay, I know that's two words, but you get my point, right? Sure, it's a bike with some shortcomings, but they can be learned to live with, as we have at ZigWheels. And while the experience hasn't been fully trouble-free, there's no doubt in my mind that this is our favorite long-term bike in the garage right now. Pretty much the whole team loves the bike, and every time they want to go anywhere, this is the bike they go towards. Now, the Himalayan is a bike that is a little difficult to fall in love with at first sight, but once you do, there is no going back, and that's exactly what happened to us here at ZigWheels. So, do you own the Himalayan as well? Let us know what your journey has been like in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching.